I'll be sure to include the answer in the follow-up email that I will send to you guys tomorrow. So let's get started. I want to thank you guys for working with me for the rescheduling that we had to do. I had a minor little scheduling conflict, but tonight is 18, and we're doing Socially Savvy 201. Our next webinar is going to be on April 12th, and that is actually the wrong topic. So on April 12th, next month, we are going to be talking about email marketing. And so I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to use some of the most popular email marketing platforms. We'll talk about how do you build your list, how do you make sure that your lists are not spammy, and how do you design really good emails that you can send out to people and that they respond to. Most of you who have been a part of the webinar series, you've gotten my follow-up emails, and as you'll see, it's really easy to send out information to hundreds of people using email marketing platforms. And unlike just sending the information in an email where you are having to copy everyone's email address and risk being reported as spam, allows you to use templates to send out emails. So we're going to go through all of that next month. I have to give a huge thank you to the Connectional Lay Council for hosting this program, for tapping me to be your facilitator for these series. This is number 4, and we have 2 more to go. We're going to do email marketing, and then we will be doing websites, talking about what type of website is good for your business or your ministry. And I'll be showing you a couple of the websites that I've worked on and giving you some ideas of how you can work with a graphic designer, or you can try to create a website for yourself. So again, on tonight's agenda, we're going to look at Pinterest, Instagram, and then we're going to spend a little bit of time on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you haven't taken the poll, please check out the poll and let me know how you're using the top 3 that we're talking about tonight, just to give me an idea where everyone is. If you have any problems hearing or have any problems with the presentation, then feel free to post that, and I will try to make sure that everything is flowing smoothly for you. So let's jump right in. First, we're going to start with we're going to start with Pinterest. So a lot of people are like, well, what is Pinterest? What's the big deal about Pinterest? Pinterest is a great resource if you are interested in sharing pictures, or if you're interested in getting design ideas. So almost anyone who knows me knows that I'm a huge shoe fan, and so I pin a lot about shoes. But some other things that you can use Pinterest for, especially related to ministry, is let's say that you're having an Easter brunch and you want to get some ideas. So you can type Easter brunch into the search, and you'll see all of these really cool ideas. I know a lot of times we are trying to come up with something new and exciting and something different to do, and we have a very small budget. And so coming to Pinterest will give you some great ideas. Like, I think this is super cute, where you take the fruit and then you use cookie cutters and you make little fruit shapes. You're going to serve fruit anyway. This is a great way that you can jazz it up and make it fun, especially for the kids. They even have recipes. So if you're looking to try different recipes, then that's a great option. And then the cool thing is, if you see something that you like, then you can take it and you can save it. And then that way you can come back to it later. On my board, I have recipes that I save. I have shoes. I have clothing ideas. But I think it's a great way that you can also share a board with a friend. So if you have a team that's on an upcoming event, then you can get everyone together and you all can share a board, and you all can add design ideas together. I think this is really cute, and I never thought about this. The little orange napkin with the green utensils, and it looks like little carrots. So you'll see that you have to be careful, because you can spend a lot of time looking at these really cool ideas and learning how to make things to jazz up your event. The cinnamon roll Easter bunnies, like, oh my goodness. so many cute ideas on here. So if you all are planning an Easter brunch or something for Easter, this is definitely a place to come. I didn't research this before, but we're going to check something out and see what kind of ideas. I know a lot of churches do the 12 tribes event. So this could also give you some really cool ideas and some really cool graphics that you can print out for your event. And it's a great way to research. It's also a really good tool if you have kids and you want to send them to a place to do some research and to get some ideas. So if you're using your youth ministry, definitely consider having them to do some research projects on Pinterest, because they'll find a lot of different things and come back and tell you what they found. So does anyone have any questions about using Pinterest? All right. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The next site that we're going to go to, if I can move this bar over. Hold on, give me just a sec. Oh, here we go. The next site that we're going to look at is Instagram. So Instagram is great for sharing pictures. I know a lot of churches have photo or photography ministries. You have people coming and they're taking tons of pictures on Sunday or at your events, and you're trying to figure out, well, what are we going to do with all of these pictures? Well, sharing them on Instagram and helping to build your following there is a great way to share the pictures that you're taking. Here's John Wesley Dennis. He's an AME preacher, and he was just assigned a church, and so he's sharing pictures from that. You can also do short videos, so it's a great way that you can share information. Here's Reverend Felika Thompson. She shares a lot of inspirational information, especially for young women. She's a great person to follow, and she also shares clips from her radio show. So here's one of my favorites, Eva. She has an online radio platform that she does interviews, and then she's also on a local radio station in Birmingham. So she uses her Instagram to share information about her upcoming events. So a couple of quick things to set up your Instagram. You can set up your Instagram as a business or a personal. I know some people may be using Instagram for their personal use, but if you want to set it up as a business, then you can connect it to your Facebook page. So if you have a Facebook page and you have an Instagram, then you can connect them and you can do ads. And so sometimes you'll see sponsored by or I think that's or promoted by, then that means that someone has bought an ad to promote whatever they're posting on their profile. And that's really great when you're hosting, like let's say you have a community cookout on a Saturday. Well, you want more people to come than just the people who are your church. So by posting a social media ad on your Facebook page and your Instagram page, you can also create an ad so that you can set the demographics for maybe the zip code around the church. And then the people who are in that area will be able to see your ad, and then they'll be able to respond. So that's a great way to kind of broaden your audience. Once you set up your profile, then you'll be able to add a little bit about yourself. You'll be able to add a link to your church's website if you have one. You'll be able to post whatever you want to post. Promoting events, promoting special days at your church. It's a great platform to use. Again, very simple, very picture or image based. So if you are taking pictures and you don't know what to do with them, then it's the perfect place to add those pictures. I like to tell people, if you're going to post pictures, try to use some type of collage software so that you put the pictures together, kind of like this one where it's like 6 pictures instead of posting like 6 pictures of the same thing, and then people are scrolling and then all they see are pictures from one event. Here's a collage that I made, and we did 2, 4, 6, put 8 pictures in one little box. There's a a really cool software on your phone that's called Diptyque, Diptic, and it allows you to put pictures into grids like this, and then you can share them to different social media platforms. So just a little bit of advice, because you don't want to take over people's timeline with one set of pictures, because they get very frustrated, and sometimes that will cause people to want to unfollow you. Really important with Instagram, you are able to do links within your post. So I know sometimes we'll want to link to something, but on Instagram, it's more hashtag oriented. So you want to be very conscious of the hashtags that you use. A lot of times people will find hashtags that are very common. So I think we talked about this in one of our first sessions about being mindful of the hashtags that you use. You don't want to find something that's really obscure, because then people are not searching for that and they're not going to find it. But people search for success, and so when they search for success, then your post is more likely to come up. So we can do a little test of that. So let's say we're looking for success and we want to see what people are saying about success. That's not what I wanted to do. So we want to explore. We want to click on success and then the hashtag, and you'll see that there are over 31 million posts about success. So people who are interested in success, this is what they're going to find. So if you put your information, whether it's for your business or personal or what have you, then it will come up under there. Let's see what we find if we put AMEZ in. So Bishop Moore is the first person that we see. That's not what we want. We want to go back to post, and we want to search for AMEZ. I'm sorry, I'm not responsible for tech. All right, let's try this again. All right, AMEZ. Oh, that's what we did. We have hashtag AMEZ. All right, hashtag AMEZ. So what comes up? What have people been posting about Zion? So this is pretty cool. So we can follow it and see what people are saying about that AME Zion. I have no idea what that is. So we can see, I know this was from Winter Meeting, Bishop Vashti McKenzie preaching. And so this also helps you to find different churches that are also that are posting about the AME Zion Church. And as you guys can see, we need to do better with our hashtag, because there's not a lot of content on here for AME Zion. So let's try AME Zion and see what we find. So we're at almost 1,200 posts. So I think this should be a challenge for us. So we need to do a better job of our hashtag to share content, because if people are going online and if they're looking for information about the AME Zion Church, we want it to be similar to success. When people typed in success, there were over 31 million posts, and for AME Zion we have about 1,200. So that's the importance of using a hashtag that is something common and something that people will easily be able to find, so that people can find information about us and want to support the church. So, do we have any questions about using Instagram? I know that's kind of a lot, but that's where we are with Instagram. So the next platform that we're going to look at, we're going to go to LinkedIn first. And we're going to say Twitter first, because Twitter is a little more intense. So one of the ways that you can use Instagram is that you can use LinkedIn is to build your network with people from the church. And you might say, why do I want people from the church in my network? Well, you can also post jobs. So if you have a company, let's see how we get to the company page. So if you have your profile on here, and let's say that you know of a job opening, or if you want to post a job at the church, then you can post those jobs on LinkedIn, and then you can share it with people who you are connected with. I think one of the things that we can do a much better job with at the church is, through the church, is to do business with each other. There was a study that came out that talked about billions of dollars of spending power that the African American community has, and it was very striking how they said that a dollar only stays in the African American community for a few minutes, whereas in other communities it has the power to stay for days or weeks. And I think one of the ways that we can change that is by finding ways to do business with each other. And one way is, for your church, you can create a company. And so let's say that you create the company and it's for your church, then you can encourage members of the church to become a part of your LinkedIn. And so that way you can share professional information. So if you have members who are business owners and they want a place to advertise or to promote their business, then you can encourage them to do that through your LinkedIn company. Again, if they have jobs, then this is the place for them to post their job. If people are having, specials, then this is where they can come and post those specials. And so LinkedIn is a great resource. You can also share articles. And I know people have said, the church is not a business and we don't need to run it like a business. But I do think that we need to find a way to do business and support each other professionally so that we can generate more revenue that can then be used for ministry and used for the good of the church. So does anyone have any questions about LinkedIn, the company part? To get to the companies, then you would just want to go to the under me. Once you set up your personal profile, and then you'll go toward the bottom, and then it'll give you the option to set up a company. And I always tell people, whenever you're setting up a profile, just click all the buttons. So I'll start with the overview, and you'll see wherever there is a little pencil, then that means you have the opportunity to edit. So just go through, click all the buttons, and then it'll tell you can learn about career pages, and just test it out. And you'll see all the different pieces of information that you're able to add. Another great thing that this will do for you is it will give you the opportunity to show up higher in search engines. So what does that mean? So whenever you have claimed your name, or you have your name on the internet, then when people go and they Google you, then Google is going to go out and look for wherever your name is shown. So if you want your name to show up on more than just Facebook and more than just your website, then you want to go into the Instagrams and the Pinterest and the Twitters and claim your name, so that when people Google it, they find information about your brand, your church, your ministry. So if you have different ministries within your church, I would not advise every ministry having their own LinkedIn page. I would just do one for the church, and then allow the whoever are your ministry leaders, if you want to give them access to be able to become a page admin. And you'll see up here, admin tools. You can make page admins. If you want to sponsor your updates, it's just like advertising on Facebook that we talked about last month, or the advertising on Instagram, then you can do that. And then they even have a quick start guide. So if you have questions that I didn't answer or that you forgot to ask, then check out the quick start guide. If you're using your LinkedIn for your personal development, one thing that you definitely want to do is fill out your whole profile. One of the things that a lot of professionals you will find commenting that they don't accept LinkedIn requests from people that don't have a picture. And that's because LinkedIn is a more professional social media platform. And so people want to actually know who they're letting into their professional networks. And people are much more protective of their LinkedIn than they may be of other social media sites. So make sure that if you decide to have a LinkedIn profile, that you fill out as much information as possible. It allows you to put in your experience, where have you worked. It allows you to put in your education, volunteer experience, and then it'll also make suggestions. So for your network, it'll give you suggestions of people that you can follow, and you'll have invitations from people, and then we have people they know, and so you'll look through and you see people and you're like, oh, I know who that person is. And so all you have to do is click connect, and then they get an invitation inviting them to be a part of your network. And then when you have news or you have something to share, then very similar to the other social media platforms, you're able to go in and you can put in the link, or you can put in whatever the information is, and you're also able to see, so it has the same type of feed that you see on the other platforms, except and I was going to say except it's more professional, and then we come across a hokey pokey post, but I'm sure oh, they did make it professional. Leaders all work and no play is not the answer. So you'll see as you go through LinkedIn that people try to post more professional stuff. It's not as socially oriented, or just what you're thinking about. That's a good one. So does anyone have any questions about using LinkedIn? And I'm checking just to be sure. Okay. So that's LinkedIn. Next we'll go to YouTube. So YouTube has changed quite a bit in the past. In the past few years, they allow you to do a lot more than they did when they first came out, and that's the evolution that you see with a lot of different platforms. It's good to have a picture. You would want to have your church logo here. A lot of people will have maybe like their church building, or some image that helps people to associate with your church. As you all have noticed, when I send out the email for you to view the presentations that we've recorded, it actually brings you to a YouTube link. So let's say that you have a video that you want to share with people. It's really hard to embed a video into an email because the files are so large. And so what most people will do is they will go to YouTube, and you just, once you set your channel up, then you'll just do an upload, and then it will allow you to upload your video. And you can choose to make it public. You can choose to make it unlisted, so that way if someone is Googling and they're looking for you, that video won't show up. Or you can choose to make it private, so that only people who actually have the link are able to find it. Or you can schedule it. So if you're up, like I am sometimes, at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're working, but you don't want to have something posted at 1 o'clock in the morning, because typically once you post it, if you have it connected, and you can connect it to your social media profiles, then it'll send out a link to your social media saying, hey, Lakeisha Womack just uploaded a new video. Well, that doesn't do me a lot of good at 1 o'clock in the morning when everyone is sleeping. I want people to see it. So I might schedule it for 11 o'clock in the afternoon, so that people are able to see the notification when it comes across. So if you have videos in your Google Photos, then you can import them that way, or you can just do a drag and drop. So if you had the bottom of your screen down here, like if you had just saved it, then you would just take it and drag it into this area, or you would be able to select the file that you want to upload. So just as an example, when we save the webinars, then I click the upload, and I'm not going to actually publish it, but this is just to give you an example of what it looks like when you're uploading videos. Then you're able to have a description, we'll have a title, you can have your description, you can put tags. So again, if people are doing a search, then they'll be able to find it. You can share it to Google Plus and to your Twitter account, and that's once you decide how you want to promote it. And you will see right here in the scheduled feature, you can decide when you want to schedule it. So let's say that you're recording the sermons on Sunday mornings and you want people to have a chance to, if they miss service. Well, you know, most people might be online like Sunday evening after, you know, they're relaxing and during their downtime. So you can say, hey, come back on Sunday evening at, 7 o'clock and you can view the sermon from today. You can also choose a custom thumbnail. So what I typically do is use the banner image from whatever the session was. So that way, the first thing that people see is going to be the image that that tells them what the actual event was about. And then you'll see right here, it gives you your link. So this link is what you would actually share if people are looking for if people are trying to find your video. Then you can have advanced settings, so you can decide if you want to have comments. You can decide if people are able to leave ratings for your for the video that you share. Some people comment, some people don't want comments. That's totally up to you. You can also set the recording date if you want, and then you can make the video statistics on the page public. So as you saw on the videos that we shared, it showed how many people had viewed the video. So if you want people to be able to see that, then you can make that public as well. And then you can decide if you want to allow people to be able to embed it. And what that means is it gives them a code where they're able to add it to a website. If you don't want people to be able to embed it, then you can just deselect that. All right, we have a question. So we can go back and watch all the past webinars. Yes, you definitely can. When you get the email tomorrow morning, then it will have a link to all of the past webinars. And I've even had requests to be able to use it as a training video. And so you can also do that. If you have a screen set up in your church, then you can download the video, or if you want to put, or if you have Wi-Fi and you're able to access it from YouTube, then you're able to play it. You can also find what category you think that your video is going to fit in. We're using science and technology because this is technology based, but let's see, if you wanted to publish a sermon series, then it would probably be under people and blogs, I think, or if you wanted to do education, if you're maybe recording one of your training sessions, like if you're doing some type of training for the district or for your local church, and some people weren't able to attend, but you want to make it available to them later, then you could also have it on YouTube, and then you can send out a link to the people who were unable to come so that they can so that they are able to view it. So we're going to cancel the upload because I've already uploaded that one. But you'll see you have, let's see, where does this take us? So you'll see that it will take you to all of your videos. So if you want to see the videos that you've posted, you want to see how many people have viewed them. You want to see, what people think about them, if people have left comments, or if they think that they like it, or if they don't like it. Don't get your feelings hurt if people, don't like something that you publish. I always say, don't take it personally. people are entitled to their opinions. You can also create playlists. So to keep these organized, I made a playlist for the CLC Technology and Social Media series. And so all of the videos are under this playlist. So if you're going to have ministries that will be posting videos, then to help people be able to find, if they're looking for lay council videos, then you can create a playlist for the lay council, and then you can put all of your lay council videos in there. And then if you're posting like your pastor's sermon as well, you can create a playlist for the sermons. And so that way, when people go to your page, they're able to find the content that they're looking for by choosing the playlist that they're interested in. YouTube also allows live streaming. So some people do, Facebook Live, but others have decided to do YouTube Live. And one of the great things about doing live streaming on YouTube is it actually saves it to your channel. However, YouTube is a little more strict about their live streaming. Is a process for you to be able to do live streaming through them. The platform that we're using for these webinars is Zoom, and Zoom also allows you to live stream your presentations. So let's say you were doing a webinar series like this and you wanted to make it available to everyone, then you could use Zoom, and once you activate the webinar, then you can choose to go live through YouTube, or you can choose to go live through Facebook. And so while you're on the webinar in Zoom, then it's also promoting to your other platforms. So again, I always say, when you sign up for a new service, or even if you have a service already and you're just not using it and you don't know what to do, just go through and click all the buttons and see what they do. When you enable live streaming, then this gives you some tips to help to make sure that you have technology and that it's going to show up well. We can look here at building your community. So if you can update your comment settings if you think that you might have some potentially negative comments coming through. So you see like your community settings here, and then you have your channel. Oh, there we go. So you have your channel. So not in Afghanistan. So when you go through your channel, then it will give you information about your YouTube channel. One of the really cool things is that you can actually monetize your YouTube channel. And what does that mean? So when you see ads that pop up on YouTube before you go in to watch a video, well, you can get paid for those ads. I know that there are some regulations around it. I think you have to have like so many followers and you have to be active for a certain amount of time. But if you have a very active congregation that's going to be watching your YouTube videos, then it's definitely worth it for you to be able to look at seeing if your channel qualifies for monetization. So that's a passive stream of income. It's probably not going to be a lot of money, but it would be a little bit to help toward your ministry, or even doing ads. So you'll see that you can get a custom URL. I think you have to have about 500 subscribers in order to do that. So up here will be like youtube.com/Lakeisha Womack instead of the long YouTube URL that you normally see. So again, you have branding. Like there's so much that you can do in YouTube to help with your promoting. And I'll show you one church. Let's see, one church and how they're using YouTube to promote their pastor with the embed option. So this is a church's website that I designed, and they're based out of Tennessee, and they send me the link to their promotional videos that they want to use. And so this one, we just embedded it. So instead of the website having to host the link, which, you know, sometimes you go to websites and it takes a really long time for the page to load, and that's because there's a lot of data that has to be transferred. But by having their YouTube embedded, then it plays from YouTube. And then they also have different sermons from their pastor that they will embed onto their site. So that's something that we can definitely talk about. We're talking about websites, show you the behind the scenes of how a website works. Then you'll see that by having your YouTube channel set up, that you're able to embed video and you're able to change them out really easily. All you have to do is take the link that YouTube gives you once you upload the video, and then you change the link in there and the site is updated. So it may take you all of 30 minutes at the most for you to upload your video, for you to put all the necessary information in so that you have good descriptions and you have good tags, and then you go into your website and you change the link and you're done. So does anyone have any questions about YouTube? I know that was kind of a lot, but I'm trying to be thorough and to make sure that everyone understands what we're doing. I'm just checking. All right, good. Seems like everybody's so the last one that we're going to check out, and it looks like we might actually finish a little early. The last one that we're going to check out is Twitter. It's so funny to hear people say, you know, they don't know about, you know, this Twitter thing, and they call it all kinds of different funny names like Tweeter, and it's not such a foreign land. We have a question. I embed playlist on website. Is that a question? You want to embed a playlist on your website? I think I need some clarification on that, Stephen. So Twitter is very interesting. Twitter is where a lot of people get their news from. It's actually where I get my news from every morning. When I want to know like what's happening in the world, I go into Twitter and I go to on my phone, it's actually the moments also, but it's a slightly different layout. But on your phone, you can go into your moments and it basically shows you all the top news stories. I don't think I wanted to go into that specific moment, but it shows you all of the top stories that are happening. And it just gives you a quick catch up of what the news of the day is. And so like this one just happened, you know, 38 minutes ago. Manafort's facing a maximum of 305 years in prison. That's crazy. So you can see the headlines, and I think that it's different from Facebook, because with Facebook you kind of have to go through a lot of different people's feeds to get to the news. So you have to see some people's baby pictures and some people's testimonies, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're just looking for the news, if you're just looking for the news highlights, then I find Twitter to be very helpful. All right, Stephen. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So Steven said he embeds his playlist on his website. Yeah, you can definitely do that. All you have to do is have the links. So Steven's asking a question about YouTube, well, making a statement about YouTube. So whatever your link is from YouTube, you're able to embed that. So if you want to embed a playlist, you can definitely do that. But yeah, so you can get updates on, you know, whatever is happening in the world. If there's something interesting that you want to search, and we're going to stick with the AME Zion. Oh, wait, we had AME Zion Church, AMEZ Church hashtag. And we can see, you know, what are people saying about the AME Zion Church. This is very interesting. It's also a great way for you to be able to connect with other people who are in the AME Zion Church. You can just type in, if you want to follow other AME Zion churches, then you can just type in AME Zion, and then you'll see that a whole list of AME Zion churches will pop up, and then you're able to decide, which ones you want to follow. And so you're like, all right, well, why do I want to follow people? So what that does is, like, let's say you're following Mount Olive, AME Zion, then you're able to see, different events. And so if you're like, oh, wow, that's a really cool event, I want to share that, then you would click the retweet. So when you click retweet, then you can add a comment and you can say, oh, this looks like it's going to be a great event. Or if you don't have anything to say, then you can just press the retweet button. And then what that does is it shares all of the information with the people who are following you. So you'll see that Mount Olive is also broadcasting their Bible study. So if you're interested in following their Bible study, then you can come to their Twitter, but it takes you to their Facebook. So I guess you might as well just go straight to their Facebook. Oh, they had a ribs and chicken sale. So yeah, so you can also send them messages. So if you're trying to get in contact with someone and you don't have contact information for them, and you come to their Twitter page or their Facebook page, then you can send direct messages to them. Or if you want to tweet something to them, like let's say, you're them to one of your events, I definitely don't recommend that strategy. Like, I have people who tag me and stuff because they're trying to invite me to an event, and I would prefer that you just like contact me directly and say, hey, would you mind posting this information on your social media, than to just tag me in random stuff that doesn't have anything to do with me. And that's how most people feel. Like, they would rather you just contact them directly and then let them choose to share the information to their platform. So you'll see, just like all the other social media sites. And that's why, you don't have to really be afraid of social media or be kind of confused about social media, because as we've seen this month and last month, almost all of the sites follow a very similar pattern. You have your profile picture, you have a banner image. I definitely recommend that you go into Canva, which is one of the tools that we talked about before in our graphic design session. And if you design an image for your social media, then you can resize it to fit your different social media platforms. And that way, on Twitter, it will leave a blank space right here where the profile picture is, so that your text doesn't get cut off by the profile picture, and it'll help you to see what it would actually look like. But you can, so this is what your ad would be. So you're able to set up your, you're able to set up whatever you want people to know you as. And so you're able to set up whatever you want people to know you as. So if people go at MOliveAMEZ, then it's going to connect them with this page. So, and then also usually gives you, it usually gives you suggestions of people to follow based on this profile. So who's following these types of people. So over here, you'll see, so if someone, oh, this is a good one. So if you have someone who is just being like out of order with you, and this happened a lot during the election cycle where people were just, saying crazy stuff, you can block people. So you can, have it where they can't see your stuff and you can't see their stuff. You can also mute people. So if it's not necessarily that you don't want to follow them, but you just don't want to see their posts because they're just not posting a lot of stuff that's relevant to you, but you still want to support them, then you can mute them. Or if they're just being completely offensive, then you can report them to Twitter. And then you can also turn on mobile notifications. So that means that every time that person posts a tweet, then you will get a notification that they sent a tweet. And then you can turn off retweets. So if you need to do any of this, then this is where for a specific profile, then you would just You just click on these three little dots. All right. And then you can also, so if you want a quick way to find followers, you can see who they're following. So if you're just getting started and you're interested in building your following, you can say, oh, well, let's see who Mount Olive is following. And it looks like these are probably a lot of their members. So, but if you say, oh, I know Brian Thompson, oh, I know Kareem Curry, but you might not know what their username is, and this is a great way that you can quickly find them. And then you can also see who their followers are. So that's one thing about Twitter is, once someone is following you or once you're following them, then it's pretty much public knowledge unless you have a private profile, which if you're doing this for ministry, I don't recommend that you have a private profile because then people can't find you. And so it becomes, what's the point? So if you're going to have a page for ministry, then it should be open and it shouldn't be something that's like secretive unless you wanted to have a page that was specifically for a part of your ministry or for your youth and you want them to have a safe space. But if that's your aim, then I don't think social media is the platform for that. So you can also look on the left-hand side and you can see the photos and videos that they've shared. And then you can also see the things that they've liked. So again, Twitter is a very public profile. So if you like something, and I think one of the politicians months back liked a tweet that a porn site had posted and people caught it immediately and they were taking screenshots of it. And I don't know if he did it on purpose or if it was accidental, but I always tell people nothing on social media is private. Even if you have a private page, still expect that people would be able to find you. Oh my God, like I just saw this, like Trump suggests United States could have a military presence in space. Like that's the actual hashtag, like what is happening in our world. So the cool thing is, they've branded their page is purple. So everything on here is purple. When you go to your page, then you can choose your brand colors also. And so it looks like I chose gray because everything on here is gray. So when you go into your page, then anything that you use a hashtag, and someone asked earlier about hyperlinks. So what is the purpose of a hyperlink? Hyperlinks do one of two things. In this case, the hyperlink will take you to the aggregate of information under this same tag. So if I click on the AMEZ, then it's going to take me to everything that uses this AMEZ hashtag. I can find people, I can find photos, videos, news, broadcasts, everything concerning that hashtag. The other thing that hyperlinks do, so it's not only hashtags, but also if you do the @ then it'll take you to that actual page. But the other thing hyperlinks do is they take you to actual websites. So if you have a hyperlink embedded in a document, if you want it to automatically hyperlink, then you will need to put the whole address, the HTTP :// and then the address, and then it should automatically hyperlink. Some platforms, if you just put in the name, then it'll hyperlink. But that's what hyperlinks do. And you can tell if something is hyperlinked because usually it will be a different color, or once you put your mouse over it, then it will come up. It'll give you the option to click on it. So that's what hyperlinks are. They're links that you can actually click on. So while there's so much, so once you set up your profile, again, you want to have a profile picture, you want to have a banner image. Your banner image should always be something that gives people more information about your brand. So you can also see like your activity. So if you're like, oh, I wonder if this Twitter thing is actually working, then you can see how many impressions, like how many people interacted with your content. You can view your top tweets. It also allows you to pin a tweet to the very top. So we didn't want to do that. So if you have like an event coming up and you want to make sure that when people come to your page that they find that event, then you can pin it to the top, and then that'll be the first thing that they see, despite all of the other tweets that you posted. So I don't post a lot of tweets, but usually like I'll retweet. So this is what it looks like when you retweet someone. If you don't add a comment and you just click the retweet button, then it'll just show their comment. But then if you decide that you want to make a comment, then you see I retweeted this one, but I added my own content, my own comment to it. So that's what it looks like on your page. When you go into profile, then that's when you're able to change your color scheme. You're able to pick the name that you want to use. You're able to put in a little bio about yourself. I know at one time, like Twitter limited you to 140 characters, but now I think it's up to about 280. So you really don't have a restriction on how much content you can post. So what happens when you tweet? Like, who sees it? Well, when you go to your homepage, and because I am following almost 4,000 people, it's really hard for me to see people's tweets because there's so many people. So you'll see, like, in just a few seconds, like 6 new tweets came through. And so when people tweet, then you see their content, and you're like, oh, that's really cool. Then if you want to retweet it, you can. If you want to like it, it's really nice. Or if you want to reply. So a reply is when you say something, but you don't include the original message. Then you can do that. So you're going through, like, oh my goodness, it's like so much content. Like, how do I separate this? Well, one thing that you can do on your personal profile is you can create a list. So I have 140 lists. So you can create a list. So you can have a list if you want to have, Amy Zion churches on one list. And if you want to have Amy Zion pastors on a list, or if you want to have, community organizations on a list, then when you click on that list, then it will only show you tweets from people on that list. Oh, that's so sad. I saw that about the dog. So that's one way that you can, help kind of separate out some of the noise, so that as you start to build more followers, then you don't have to worry about, like, how am I going to be able to see the content from them, or how do I find their content, because you have so many people. So you'll also have people who will put you on lists. And so if you want to see, who's put me on their list for whatever reason, and then you can decide, if you want to unsubscribe from them, then you'll see the different list of people that are following you, which is always interesting. It's always good to check those things out as just a way of managing your brand and knowing, what people are saying about you. You can send direct messages by clicking here. So if you're following someone and they post an article and you want, more information, or you want to comment personally about it, then you can go into the messages. I usually, if I get like bad service at a restaurant, then I'll tweet the restaurant, because that's a lot more effective than just complaining to the manager. And typically someone from their customer service department will send me a message, and they'll say, hey, DM us, what happened, and we'll look into it. So that's very helpful if you go somewhere and you don't get good service. Then always tweet them. Don't post it on Facebook, because people ignore Facebook, but Twitter is very effective. My son is laughing at me. So notifications. So if you get new followers, this is where you'll see them, and you can, look at their profile and say, oh, who's this person? Do I want to follow them back? And it's like, oh yeah, then, it seems like a cool person. Who else is following them? Who do I know? And you just click the follow button. Or if it's somebody just like, oh, they know what we have in common, so there's no point in me following them. then you don't have to follow. And you'll always get like some suggestions of people that you should follow based on the content that you've been looking at online. So, if you don't look at anything sketchy if you don't want to see it popping up in your who to follow. And that's very important, especially if you are sharing a Twitter account. So if it is a church Twitter account and a couple of people have access to it, then you gotta, just be careful of what you're looking at, because other people will be able to see it and I'll be like, oh, where did that come from? So this is telling us what's happening in Pennsylvania tonight. So do we have any questions about Twitter? I know that was a lot. But Twitter's a lot of fun, and it can be very effective. The best way that you can use it for your ministry is to help get messages out. I've heard a lot of people complain about young people being on social media while they're in church, and I always say, well, encourage them to tweet, whatever the message is. Give them like a hashtag for them to follow, or just find some way to use social media to engage them, because a lot of them have hundreds of friends that are following them. And by them posting messages on their social media, then it's also going out to those hundreds of people that are following them. So it's a great way for you to get your young people, even some older people, are on Twitter. I think we try to make it seem like social media is only for young people, or the millennials as we call them. But social media is being used by everybody for a lot of different reasons. So, talk to your congregations and see how they want to use social media and what platforms they're interacting with. Hopefully, this tutorial gave you some ideas of how to set up your accounts and a starting point for you to go in and figure out the best way to use them. When I send out the follow-up email tomorrow, then I'll give you guys an idea of the best types of content for each of the different platforms, because some platforms work better with text, some platforms are more picture oriented, some do better with video. So again, it's understanding what the best media is for the different platforms and sharing that with people who are using them. And again, I think social media is the first time in history that we have truly had the opportunity to fulfill the Great Commission of sharing the gospel with people all over the world. One tweet can be seen by people all over the world. So the message isn't just for your congregation, for your church, but it has the potential to be seen by everyone. That's the power of the hashtag, using hashtags that people are following. So instead of using, arbitrary hashtags, like find something that, does have 1 million posts, because that means that people are following that and people are looking at that content. So if we don't have any final questions, we do have a couple of minutes. Again, you guys can post in the chat box, or you can post in the Q&A. Then we can wrap up. And thank you guys for taking time out of your Tuesday night and being flexible with me. It's been a crazy, crazy week. But if you don't forget to register, why did I not change that? Register for our April 12th event. I'll send you guys the link in the morning. And then, of course, if you want to on any social media, or if you need to contact me, and I thank you to everyone who's contacted me. I've gotten some really sweet requests to help people with different things, like even like opening different file types, and I am happy to help you in any way that I can, or to point you to the right resource. So my contact information is going to be in the presentation. If you need me, don't hesitate to reach out and use this information to build your ministries outside of just the four walls of our churches. So thanks, everybody.
That's what you're doing? Come on. That's what you're doing?